What's up, TJ? This is Coach Holtman. Just want to take you through some things that we see on video. That way we can make some mechanical adjustments this off season, so that way you are ready to go for next year. Okay, so first thing we like to look at is your hip load. All right, so hip load is we watch how your front leg comes up into leg lift. All right, and the first thing that I notice is see how your leg goes up towards your front shoulder. All right, we want that leg to actually come up towards our back shoulder, so it should be going that direction. Okay, see how it comes off that line? All right, we want to see that leg track, that knee track towards your back ear or your back shoulder. Okay, so see how you're doing this. All right, that's a really easy change that we can fix. All right, because that'll help you set up your hips so you can use your lower half a little bit better. All right, so for your reference, we want this front leg coming towards your back shoulder, that direction. Okay, so your front leg's going towards the wrong shoulder there, or your front knee. And then secondly, we want your hips, we want your front hip to be slightly elevated. Okay, so as we go into leg lift, all right, yours are pretty straight across. The way I can tell is by looking at your shoulders. Okay, so your hips are going in like that, where your hips are even with each other. Okay, I want to see your hips slightly elevated on the front side, and the way you can show that is, or the way you can see that is, your shoulders should match. So your front hip and your front shoulder should be slightly elevated compared to the back. All right, so that's the first thing that I notice. All right, the nice thing is those are really easy fixes. Okay, as we go out into hip lead, first thing I notice is that your front leg goes up, down, and out. All right, up, down, and out. What we want to do, we don't really want to go that way because that means that we're not using our lower half very effectively. Okay, and the way that I can tell is if I draw a line straight up your back leg. Okay, as we go down the mound, we should see what's known as a knee pinch, or we should see that back knee track straight in towards the catcher. All right, it should be going that way. All right. If you look at yours doesn't move much, which means that we're not putting the force into the ground in the correct direction. All right, which means that we're not using our lower half very effectively. Okay, it does move slightly in, but if you look at this video on the left, what you'll notice is that your knee is actually tracking in the wrong direction. Okay, see how your knee is going at an angle this way? All right, it's going all the way out. It's going like that way, right? Okay, we want to see your knee go straight in towards the catcher. All right, almost on a straight line towards the catcher. That means that you're using your glutes to rotate and not your quads. All right, so you're using your butt muscles. So all those heavy squats that you're doing in the weight room right now, you're not really using those muscles or using that strength very effectively. Okay, and the way I know that is because if I look at your heels, if you look at the heel on your back foot, notice how early you come off that heel. All right, it's like when you squat. Coach Pullman always says sit back on your heels. All right, same thing happens when we pitch. All right, we want to drive through that entire foot. You're driving off your toe, and what that means is that forces your hips to open up early. So see how your hips open up early? All right, and what that also does is it forces you to land on your toe on the front side. All right, you have to shorten your stride. The reason you have a short stride is because you come up onto that toe on your backside so fast. All right, so because you come up onto your toe, then you're forced to land on your toe on the other side. All right, it causes a super short stride because your body has to balance itself, and now at this point your lower half's not engaged anymore, and so you're just throwing all arm. So you're just throwing all arm there, TJ. That's why you don't throw very hard. Okay, so what we need to do is spend this off season really teaching you how to use your lower half more effectively. Okay, and all of that starts from this back heel becoming disconnected so quickly. Okay, and a lot of that reason the back heel comes connected so quickly is because you're up, down, and out. in your hip load, your leg lift isn't very effective for you. Okay, so what happens is since you come out under your toe, you rush out front with your upper body in order to balance itself, and so your head is in front of the center line. Okay, if you were using your lower half more effectively, your head would be back here still at this point in the delivery, and then you'd be able to use the weight of the center of your body in order to help throw the ball harder. Okay, think of it like a catapult. If that weight stays back, you're able to propel the ball forward more effectively. All right, but because you come up on that heel so fast, you lose a lot of that energy. Okay, the next thing I notice is how your front leg interacts with the ground. So on release, this leg should be completely straight. Okay, that leg should extend on release, like straighten out and push your hips backwards. Okay, and that creates like a catapult effect where you're able to use the center of your body more effectively. All right, or use the mass of your trunk more effectively. All right, but you lose a lot of energy because that knee lands in a flex position and stays there. All right, it's going to land flex, but we want that thing to straighten out. Okay, so this off season we'll have to give you some drills that help you use basically just use your legs more effectively. All right, you've done a good job in the weight room of getting stronger. Now we got to learn how to use that strength better on the mound, in the box. All right, because hitting and pitching are basically the exact same movements from a rotational standpoint. And so if we can strengthen some of the stuff on the mound, it'll actually also help you in the batter's box as well. Okay, so that's what the front leg needs to work on. And then on the glove side, all right, with your upper body, okay, that's not too bad. We want to see that glove side work thumb down to thumb up, and you're doing a better job here kind of getting some extension with that front arm. All right, we want to see that thing work thumb down to thumb up, which is what you have. Okay, but the problem is because you rush out onto your front foot so fast, your body has to open up early. Okay, so we want to be in this position with our foot already on the ground. Okay, but the problem is you have to open up early in order to throw because you don't use your lower half very well. Okay, so we got a lot of things we got to clean up, but most of it, TJ, for you, is going to be working on how this back leg interacts with the ground and how we push off. All right, because if you do that, you'll be able to use your strength better, and you should see a bump in velocity. Okay, as always, if you have any questions, let me know. All right, I'm going to try and get some drills sent out to you, so you can start working on those over the next month, and then in a month we'll get video of you again, and we'll see if we make any improvements or if we need to make any adjustments. All right, like I said, make sure you ask questions if you have any. Thanks, DJ.